I love going down the beach, and when I do this, it's a great idea. Always take with you a full set of medieval armour, the breastplates, the chainmail, the visor, the whole works. Lie on the beach, cover yourself over with the sand or the pebbles. Takes quite a while, but it's worth it. Sure enough, within half an hour, along will come some arse with a metal detector and just flip the visor up and scream, "Did we win?"
I split up with my first girlfriend because of the physical side of the relationship, the wrestling. Yeah. Well, it was all right, but then I found out she'd been faking it. Well, of course, we could never make love. Well, I mean, we could make fire, but not love. We tried to make love. We came close. We made glove. When we'd finished, we knitted a mitten.
I went to a shrink. I thought it would be a fun place to try out new material. He says to me, "I'm going to say a word, and I want you to say the first word that comes into your head." He says, "Happy." And I say, "Content." He says, "Excellent," and he writes it down. He says, "Tired." I say, "Sleepy." He says, "Good, good," and he writes it down. He says, "Keen." And I say, "Enthusiastic," and he says, "No, it has to be 7 letters."
I went to put my hand in the biscuit tin, yeah? And I pulled out some digestives like that. I got about 9 digestives out, like a CD rack. Oh, a powerful CD rack. I went, look at that. I love digestives. They're so gorgeous. They're fantastic. They're my favourite biscuit. But this is the only thing that I hate in the world, the wrongest thing. These digestives, yeah, they look like digestives. They smelt like digestives. But they tasted of ginger nuts. Ginger nuts are vicious sods, aren't they? You only have to have 1 in your tin ever and all your biscuits smell forevermore. They're like the ginger army in the tin, going, "Okay, men over in the corner, 2 jammy dodgers, and half a pinky wafer acting like they own the place. Get over there and make them smell like one of us."
Anyway, so I went to the shop next door, right, and I said, "Oh, look," 'cause you know when you get paranoid because you're carrying something and you think they're going to think you haven't paid for it. Right, well, basically I was going to a fish shop and had a big load of sea bass on my shoulder from a recent expedition. And so I said, "Oh, look, I've got a load of sea bass." And they just said, "Well, you're going to have to pay for it, aren't you?" And then this big fight broke out behind me over some haddock, right? And I hate fighting. Fighting and kissing are the 2 things I can't stand. You know, I know roughly what's involved, but I can't actually bring myself to, you know, I mean, people say to me, "Hang on, Alex, you've got a big gap in your teeth. Surely you're an excellent kisser and quite a butch wrestler." But they're wrong. You know, thank you, but it just makes me more nervous. So I had to pay for the sea bass, right? And the fight's getting closer and closer. And unfortunately, I didn't bring any money, so I had to write a cheque. And one of my biggest regrets in my life is that I chose a very complicated medieval font for my signature. It takes a long time, right? And I have to use a quill. So I'm doing this, and the fight's getting closer, and I'm having a lot of trouble with the calligraphy. So eventually I just panic, and I drop everything, and I run, right? I run and run like I've never run before, which is useless, because you know when you've never run before, you totter a bit, fall over. So then I ran out the wind with gusts of movement towards the door and a sort of whirlwind thing, didn't get anywhere. Then I ran like a girl, which was great, but useless. Finally, I ran hell for leather, which means nothing at all. But it worked. I went very fast. I went faster than a speeding bullet, which is a bullet going over 70 miles an hour. And I got stopped by the police, beaten up and kissed. So I went to court, and the judge said, "Alex, I've got a lot of time for you." And I thought, hey, then I thought, could go either way, couldn't it? He said, "It's just a short sentence." I thought, he said guilty.
Hey, what went wrong? The only glimmer of hope is when the phone rings, you rush to pick it up, and it's some bastard cold calling you going, "Oh, have you ever thought about a personal pension plan?" That's how they catch you out, eh? There's plans to make sure by the time you're an old person that you have to retire at 67. What's the bloody justice there, eh? But no, this idiot on the phone going, "Hey, I tell you what, you put 1/3 of your disposable income into some private fund. Don't have your fund now. Don't go out for a drink with your mates. Put it all into one fund. Then you'll be able to retire early, won't you, at 55. Oh, yes, if there's soft food, I'll have a right old beano, won't they? Because you know, by the time you reach pensionable age, all the in-string ones will have died. Bungee jumping. There'll be you and the boring ones left in that post office queue, and they'll be boring you to fucking death with pointless questions like, "Oh, guess how old I am?" You'll never guess how old Yeah, I know how old you are. We went to bloody school together, Colin. I'm 83. I know you're bloody 83. Where's my knife?
Sometimes, though, ginger army, yeah? They get a bit too cocky and they think they can rule the roost and they come in, yeah? They don't even walk in anymore. They dance in, they moonwalk in. They go, yeah, we're going to put gingers on everyone. We're going to put ginger in everyone's eyes. It's going to be amazing. Have you checked us out? Well, there's no secret what we're about. And they come running in the tin like that. But they don't realise there's huge Garibaldi in the tin. Huge, massive, hasn't even been broken up into sections yet, like a skyscraper, like a totem pole going, oh, I'm Garibaldi, have you ever seen me? I'm very muscular, I'm very sinewy. I don't know the song exactly, and he's there. But the thing is, the gingers come in, they go, look at the size of him, he's enormous, get out. But then your dad breaks the Garibaldi back up into sections and the gingers are back in the driving seat.
My life had fallen apart. I went to see my therapist about it. She just muttered something about seeing both sides of the argument. I said to her, look, I don't pay you. And she said, you're right, you don't. The NHS gives it to you for free. I said, look, I don't pay you. And I did that with my hand because, I thought it would emphasise my point. Well, it didn't. It undermined my point and it made me look weak. But luckily I realised that and I thought, well, I can turn this into a stronger gesture that will, after all, emphasise my point. But unfortunately, I was a little low on blood sugar and I needed the toilet and by mistake I went... And I almost immediately regretted it because she was a Freudian and I'd probably given away something I shouldn't have. And I actually finished uncleanly and after all I hadn't emphasised my point. I got out of it though because I said, sorry, I thought we were playing charades. That was Wind in the Willows. It wasn't, it was Annie.
No one wants puppies, kittens and rabbits anymore. It's all lizards, tarantulas and pythons. My mum's jumped on the bandwagon. She made 2 New Year's resolutions. One to meet ABBA, the second one to get an exotic pet. We can imagine our surprise when Agnetta the anaconda turned up on her doorstep. Have you ever tried to house train an exotic pet? Never touched its dirt box. I nearly lost a finger giving him a worming tablet. I'm going to try it orally next time. It was the other animals I felt sorry for. They say cats have 9 lives. Tell that to poor Frida when her back legs disappeared down Agnetta's gullet. We didn't have the art to tell it off. Well, didn't really have the chance. What of us being pinned against the wall and everything. We did everything to make that feel at home. Even put a bush in the airing cupboard, you know, to give it like a tropical feel. Yeah. Turned its nose up, preferred the double bed with me father. We've taken the bush out the airing cupboard now, because every time my mum tries to get to sleep, it scratches her face. We took it to the vets, and he said it was depressed. I thought, is it any wonder? One moment it's pottering around the Amazonian rainforest. Next thing you know, it's in a bed sitting Leicester listening to Radiohead. Well, I'd pull my feathers out, wouldn't you?
So as a last kind of ditch attempt, the other biscuits kind of kick a posh biscuit to the front of the tin. It's all they can do, it's all they've got left. And this little posh biscuit comes forward with a little clipboard, his little blonde wedge, and he goes, hi, Abby Crunch here. Basically here to get the running of the tin smoothed over, you know, get a few fax machines put in, get you all online, yeah? Now, what the hell is going on here? Ginger's coming in, putting ginger on everyone, surely that's leisure time. And he's there, and he's talking away, but he talks for such a long time that it becomes dark in the tin, it becomes dusk, and all of a sudden this huge shadow comes around the wall of the tin, and this horrible, deformed, shoddy apparel of a biscuit comes in. And he limps onto the scene. What it is, yeah, it's the Elephant Man biscuit. It's a homemade biscuit that your nan's made. All the other biscuits go, oh Christ, look at him, he's got puff pastry elbow and everything. Oh, Sultana's where his eyes should be. I can scarcely look at him. Where's my car keys? I'm going to damage him. All right, Steve, what if it was you? If it was me, I'd damage myself. Yeah, me too. What are we doing in this show? I don't know. We've been in it too long. And what happens is your mum, being a bit of a maverick, has put like a Viscount or a yo-yo, I don't know the difference, into the tin. And that's got a green jacket on. And it's kind of reflective. And, you know, I mean, a Viscount or a yo-yo, that's not a biscuit, is it? Everyone knows that. It's not a cake either, it's in between. It's an evolutionary nightmare. And where does that fit? It's in no family. And he comes into the tin, he's the only one wearing a coat. He goes, fucking hell, it's an orgy in here! And then Rich T comes over and he's quite well hung. He goes, hi, mind if I take your jacket? And he goes, actually, I'm all right, I'm just going to get some punch. And he runs off like that. And that's the trouble. That's where the Elephant Man biscuit is. The Elephant Man biscuit sees his reflection in the green jacket for the first time ever. Oh, why am I so ugly? Oh, kill me! What have I done? Oh, pandemonium breaks out. Jammy Dodger faints. Everyone gets inside him, thinks he's a paddling pool. Red socks for about a year. Oh, I hate that.
She said to me, Mr. Locke. I said, Dad? She said, what? I said, sorry. She said, why did you call me Dad? I said, well, I haven't got used to the idea that Mr. Locke is also my name as well as my father's. Whenever I go to the bank manager, I always giggle. Sit down, Mr. Locke. You have once again exceeded your overdraft limit, Mr. Locke. Naughty daddy. I said to her, look, and I went through all that with the hands again. This time she guessed right, though. It was Chicago, and I had to give it to her.
I used to work in funeral catering, but I got fired, you know. I just tried to liven it up, so I put a big pineapple in the middle, you know. How was I supposed to know he died in a freak pineapple accident?
And that's the best you can look forward to when you're a pensioner, eh? That's when your peak moment comes. It's not when you're walking across the bloody Himalayas or writing some love poem, some bird who never gave two fucks about you anyway. It's when you're found, probably in stained trousers, bellowing your naked rage at some young bastards at the other end of the road for no other reason than they're younger than you. You bastards! You young bastards! I stayed up watching the Gulf War for you young bastards!
I said to her, look, Mrs. Therapist, because I didn't know her first name or her last name. I said, look, I think you're simplifying the world. You're dividing the world into two, black and white, right and wrong, sane and insane. The world isn't that simple. It's much more... It's divided into three. The human personality is divided into me, myself and I. And what's been happening is myself and I have been ganging up on me. Everything in the world is divided into threes. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, earth, wind and fire, man, woman, the dog, hot and cold and lukewarm. Everything is divided into three. And I looked up at her and she'd gone. She got up and walked out. She got bored of my list of threes. I chased her out into the street shouting, "The Three Bears! Wet, wet, wet!"
I heard a theory that ghosts were visual echoes. You know, like you can have sound echoes, they're just visual. And that's why when you see ghosts, they don't really acknowledge you. It's a plausible enough theory. I just hope if it's true that the Earth has some sort of filter of when it makes you a ghost, you know, to save embarrassment. Because there's a lot of times in my regular life that I don't think I'd particularly like to be made a ghost for all eternity. You know, like a couple people having a cocktail party in my apartment a couple hundred years from now. And ghost me comes in wrapped in a towel, burps, lies down on a couch and starts masturbating. Who would you call? Yeah, we got a really gross ghost. No, it's not the ghost part that scares us.
And that's where it all goes wrong, and you might as well face facts. It's all downhill from here on in, eh? Looking at the demographics, eh? It's all going to the gym and that doing fuck all good. It's all taking the stairs one at a time, and you're gasping and wheezing. You have a cup of coffee in the morning, you think, oh, is that the caffeine or a heart murmur? You just don't know anymore. And what is the best? What is the best that your prudence and longevity plans can bring you? I'll tell you what the best is. It's a long, lingering, painful illness at the end of your life in some white-tiled institution. That's the best you can hope for, eh? Some bloody nurse patronising you. You've got a bloody catheter up your jacksie. Some white starched bitch from hell wandering past every 20 minutes going, oh, have you had a bowel movement today, Mr. Rigsby? My bowels are my own affair, you icy bitch! But of course you don't say that. You want the drugs. You go, oh, no, lovely. I went twice today. I think bedpans are so dignified. Kill me now. Hey, and God forbid you're on your bloody deathbed, you have the bloody birdie song going through your brain, eh? Oh, ragadoo. Yeah, that's a frightening thought, isn't it? But I feel I've planted the seed. 20, 30 years from now, you'll be lying back trying to make peace with your maker, and then... Ah, good, do, push pineapple up a tree. That bastard Rigsby!